Hi, everybody. I'm going to talk here about the values. And as everybody know, everybody has a values. All human beings have a values, but when we realize that it's a real value, when we face a challenge, when we face a difficulty in life, we can realize if we have a real value or we just or copy a value. I'm going to talk about Stuart in this part. I realized through sitting with him for a few minutes that he reflects a lot of real value, which it give even for myself a big lesson. He is a kind of person that show a fairness to everybody deal with him. And this is, I think, it's the core element of his personality. He is as well a person very authentic. He is believe in authenticity, you know. He is a person that he could sell what he believes in, and he doesn't sell anything that he doesn't believe in it. So he is a real person with a real ethics. What else that I realize about Stuart? He is have a big responsibility, and what responsibility mean to him? He is his family, and what I read yesterday about his paragraph, two words, work to live, which attract my mind actually. What live means to Stuart, what life means to Stuart, his family, his wife and daughter. He is giving them too much from his life, and he is able to accept any challenge to provide good standard for his family and to be a good dad and good husband. Optimism, one of his core value as well. He believed that the sun rises after the darkness, and he definitely realized that he will find a light at the end of the tunnel. So Stuart gives good lesson to everybody work with him, and he is really authentic person. And through the coaching lesson, we realized as a group that the ethics and the truth is the core element of his personality. So I'm going to pass that.
Yes, I am going to talk about the identity and role that Stuart sees himself. Initially, he says he's a facilitator, an arbitrator, conceptualizer, persuader, and he often plays the role of advisors, and he sees himself more as a change agent in companies that help develop alternatives and shape perspectives. But I looked at it, and it looks like he hasn't really talked much about the darker side of things. So we led him along the line, and he did admit that he's kind of like a reluctant charlatan. uh, that he has done it in the past, and kind of acknowledge it is necessary. And it also struck me that when we, all those things that he sees himself in, it's more like really assistant kind of role, which to me seems like if you want to be an entrepreneur would be maybe a bit more difficult. So I was trying to ask him, what do you think you can be like the boss of a company, or of your own company? And he did say that he's more like he likes to be the advisors to the owner.
Thank you. Thank you for the effort. I see some people are maybe standing in high heels. We apologize for that, and I promise we'll be over soon. Thank you for your effort of being here. Purpose. I was reminded of Nana's mother. Your mother told you to look and search for big and start by small, right? Continuous change. And this is very related to what Stuart considered his purpose. He always wants to leave a mark. He wants to make sure that wherever he goes, it is left better than it was found. That his presence there brought improvement, brought a better situation to whatever that is. And he wants to make sure that that is accomplished. That is his purpose of doing things. That is his purpose of working. That is his purpose with his family. As was mentioned previously, we did have an interesting coaching session with Stuart. And from this coaching session, as it was previously mentioned, and this has been very consistent to his responses, which shows that his authentic self proves to be very consistent. He does not sell what he does not believe in. He sells truth, and that is also one of his purposes, to sell truth. If I don't believe in it, don't count on it. I'm not going to sell it. This is very essential to him. And it has also been constantly repeated and mentioned, his family. He's found that a very practical purpose for him after this MBA is to start setting the ground for his retirement and making sure that that ground sets the best possible scenario for his family. This is his one and only priority. So these are the 7 layers, and let's hand this microphone over to Stuart, and he will tell us how this model was helpful for him and what he was able to get out of it.
This isn't long enough for me. I'm just going to project. Can we turn this up? Yeah, I'm just going to speak loudly because that cord's not long enough for me. Yeah. So I've just heard my colleagues talk about me a lot. I'm going to talk about the model, and you know, the first question is it a useful model? And for that, initially, it's a resounding yes. I had not met any of my teammates until this program this weekend, yet they've been able to describe me in a common framework that I think we can now all relate to. So it enables us to establish that common framework. It provides the structure. I heard that word a couple of times this morning. It also allowed me, when I was doing the introspection, to identify some key areas that I need to focus on within that broad definition of self. And I'll talk a little bit more about those specific areas just in a couple of minutes. It also highlighted to me the interconnectedness of some of the elements of self, things like emotion and behavior and values and purpose and all those sorts of things. That was really, it helped me provide myself clarity on the things that I need to focus on out of all these things as I'm facing this decision, as I'm approaching this crossroads. But the tool does have limitations if it's only self-introspection, because we always look at our lives through our own set of glasses, and so we see ourselves as we see ourselves, and that may not be our whole selves. So it's a much more powerful tool when it's combined with the coaching process. And we found that when we did the one-on-one coaching, there were a lot of insights that were generated that sort of rounded out some of the introspection. When we did the team coaching, that was even multiplied more fully. And there was an added benefit from the team coaching is it was very affirming for me as the recipient of that feedback. So there's a lot of power in the process as well as in the tool itself. That perspective from the team is much more balanced as well, and the positives came out that I sometimes don't see, because we all have this is a little bit of the neuroscience coming, we have a bias to negativity. We see the negative so much more easily than the positive, so it's useful to have others say, no, this is a good thing, you should pay attention to this one too. After that process was all said and done, I was looking at, okay, what do I need to focus on as I'm going through this decision process? And the 3 areas for me are emotion, they're my behaviors, and they're my purpose. And the emotional one is maintaining that sort of optimism that is one of my defaults, but it's sort of not getting swept down in the stress and dragged down. Because as an introvert, when that occurs, I start shutting down, I stop communicating with people, and those are the behaviors that I actually need to be amplifying right now, to be networking, to be building relationships, and to be trying to find my way. And then the purpose one is actually a bit of a challenge, because as much as I understand a lot of my core values, I'm at that inflection point in my life that the professor referred to, that, do I hang up the skates now? That's a Canadian reference, sorry. Or do I, or do I strive to now build further from where I am? And I'm not one to just sort of give up and roll over, so I sort of notionally have that direction, but I actually have a choice to make as to what that looks like. Do I go back into the corporate world where I have the security of income that is very important to me for my family? Do I go to the, really build my consulting business that gives me the autonomy and maybe the opportunity to pursue the work that I think will be more rewarding for me? Or do I now do something completely different based on those values? Something that I haven't done before, and it's not uncommon at my stage in life to actually make a complete transition. But today, I don't know the answer to that. So where I'm going to go, the aspect of the model I'm going to use, is I'm going to go back to purpose and focus on that for a little while before I make that decision. Adrian has a few summary comments here around the model for the team as a whole.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's always uncomfortable to listen to oneself on the microphone. So. How many of us find ourselves right now in a crossroad, or really fastly approaching to one as we come to the end of our program? How many of us want to switch careers? How many of us want to find a job or work that hopefully offers better a better situation for us, a better salary, more international experience? We're all coming to that point where we have to make decisions, and it's hard. It really isn't easy. And that's where we felt so connected to Stuart, because although he is a senior executive, 30 years of experience in HR, he's also facing a crossroads moment.